Hey, Jay Williams, Waterfowl for Christ, and author of Committed to the Call, a 365-day waterfowl hunter's devotional. Tonight I want to read you one called 180 Degrees. A buddy and I had built a massive blind the same year Al-Qaeda terrorists flew jets into the World Trade Center. In fact, I had just exited the swamp after a hot day of building when I received a phone call from my dad telling me that somebody had crashed a jet into one of the towers in New York City. The second jet hit as we were speaking, and I remember my pop's voice very clearly telling me I'd better get home. That season was a strange one, but life moves forward regardless of any tragedy, and we carried on too. Ironically, we named our blind the Tower, partly because it put us about 10 feet above the water surface and allowed us to effectively shoot birds at treetop height when they passed by, and partly because its stature was, well, towering. One day, a family of geese flew by a couple yards above us. We took several as they passed, and something extraordinary happened. The remaining geese made a U-turn at the back of the swamp and came back. They flew beneath us as they searched for their missing companions, and we rained fire down upon them, eliminating the entire party. Originally, when being fired upon, they all just wanted to escape, but the second time around, the remaining members willingly decided to risk their lives to look for their missing members. Do you remember the night that Jesus was taken into custody in the Garden of Gethsemane? The apostles, the men who had spent 3 years following him, the very same men who saw Jesus heal all manner of sickness, cast out devils, and even raise the dead, they all abandoned him. Then shortly after his resurrection, they pulled an unbelievable 180-degree turn. Each man, previously unwilling to lose his life for Christ, set out into the world to preach the gospel of Jesus, and each of them would go on to choose to die a horrific death rather than deny the risen Savior. Shortly after giving my life to the Lord, my wife gave me a book to read that described the deaths of the apostles in detail. Hearing their stories is what brought me to a place where I could truly believe that Christ was and is who he claimed to be. It was the beginning of real faith for me. Those men saw the risen Lord, and when they did, they understood that this life really wasn't the end, and they knew that he was the only way. It was only because of this absolute surety that they would now rather give their lives than deny him. Have you reached the point where you can truly believe in and on Jesus? The verse that goes with this is from Hebrews chapter 11, 35 through 38. Women received their dead raised to life again. Others were tortured, not accepting deliverance that they might obtain a better resurrection. Still others had a trial of mockings and scourging, yes, and of chains and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn in two, they were tempted, they were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy.